Episode 285. Today we're talking about some standouts in yesterday's matchup between St. Louis and Winnipeg. Game one, we saw Winnipeg come away with a 5-3 victory. They lead the series 1-0 now. And just I wouldn't say a complete dominant effort. I think throughout the second is where Winnipeg started to lean off the gas a little bit. They were still creating chances, but they weren't creating as much volume. The first period was an excellent display, I would say, of dominance from Winnipeg. And then the third period, they really started to ramp it up even more from the second period. And so they didn't play a full 60, but they played really good 40 minutes. And I thought they were just really noticeable in terms of how they were tracking, how they're pursuing pucks, how they were looking to get pucks back, how they were looking to be active on the back wall in the O zone and also be active on the half walls, be active in the corner, and just being able to control the perimeter. I think that allowed them to work the puck interior a little bit easier because they were able to get body position and get interior on the perimeter side of things. And they're able to outweigh St. Louis there. And that's something I didn't really think about heading into the series is how St. Louis, they have the potential to seriously get outworked on the walls, not just because of how quick Winnipeg is to close and their speed and how they're able to gap up and stuff like that and their activity from their Ds, but just because of the heaviness of Winnipeg. Like Winnipeg has a bunch of guys who are skilled but also heavy, and it's a rare combination to have that. I think when you're talking about Winnipeg, they could really outwork you and tire you out on the walls. And I think that's what they did to St. Louis for a good handful of this game. Again, not for the full 60 minutes, but a handful of this game, and they're able to control that wall scenario and be able to work the puck eventually interior, be able to find space there. So they were doing a good job of that, steady job of that. I think they were really noticeable at being able to be active in those situations, be active at getting off the wall and being able to create space there. And we'll start with some standouts from St. Louis. I mean, obviously Robert Thomas, who's been averaging, I believe, around 2 points per game the final stretch of the season, and heading into the playoffs, he's just continued his dominance and looks the same. He ended up scoring the first goal of the playoffs and was a really nice shot, really nice finesse shot, be able to score on the far side of Hellebuck and on his glove side. Two of the goals by St. Louis ended up being scored on Hellebuck's glove side. I thought Hellebuck looked okay. Speaking of which, I didn't. Again, playoff Connor Hellebuck, I expect a lot more from him, and I always seem to be left wanting more when it comes to playoff Connor Hellebuck. So we'll see how he continues to rebound or how he continues to adapt throughout the series. But I would like to see him get to a point where he could let in maybe one goal, tops, and do that consistently. I think replicating what he did in the regular season is hard, but playoffs is a whole new animal. So he kind of has to restart and reset a little bit. And there were some plays, there were some sequences where there were just really nice shots too. And St. Louis had some really nice shots on him. You have to give them credit. And I like Justin Falk's game. I like their defense in terms of Cam Fowler. I thought Ryan Suter was a little bit noticeable as well. And another guy I really liked throughout this game is Zach Bolduc, one of their younger guys who brings a hard checking game, hard nose game, very competitive, very tenacious, both on puck and off puck, and really allows him to be able to control the speed. He's very speedy. He's very speedy on line rush, very speedy in transition, very speedy on entries, very good at attacking entries on more of a slant, and just plays a very effective game, very noticeable game. And he was really intrigued by how he was playing yesterday. I thought he did a great job. I thought he was really noticeable, like I said, on and off the pocket, but it was just creating a lot and was very active in both situations and at both ends of the rink. So was doing a great job. Pavel Buchnevich, who was very involved both from a skill perspective and also physically, thought he had a great game. And also, another guy who's probably their most physical was Jake Neighbors. He was in everybody's face. He's going to continue to annoy guys throughout the series. That's what he does at his best. And Jake Neighbors is a guy who can really annoy you, and he can play a top nine role, but he can be reliable as a top six guy. He's also skilled. He can play a dual threat game. I think there's a lot of elements there that can really ramp up in terms of the physical play from him throughout the series, and I'm really intrigued to see what he's able to do moving forward. As for Winnipeg, I mean, the obvious guys, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Josh Morrissey. Those three were probably the three best players for them throughout this game, bar none. And I think when we're talking about Kyle Connor, it's pretty obvious. Same with Mark Scheifele. We know what those guys bring. Kyle Connor just brings a ton of speed. He's so reliable on the power play at controlling the flanks and being able to control the walls. And I really like his game. Really big fan of his game and how he's able to control space, control pressure, those type of things. Mark Scheifele just really good all around talented playmaker as a two-way player too. And just a well-rounded center who competes at both ends of the rink in battles at both ends of the rink, and he's always active in the playoffs. He's I don't recall if this was his 39th or 40th, somewhere around there. Believe in points in the playoffs, and I believe it was last I saw it was tied for a franchise record. So anyway, but he's obviously a dominant player. Obviously controls pressure a lot, very reliable in all situations, and just plays a very reliable, very complete game. Same with Josh Morrissey. He's really evolved into a top pairing, premier, number one style defenseman who can play both ends of the rink. He can play offensively, he can play defensively, he can play in transition, and you can rely upon him everywhere. And just plays a really good all-around game as well, and a guy you can rely upon in so many key situations as a defenseman as well. I liked Adam Lowry's game. I like Alex Iafallo's game. I thought those two were really effective. And same with some bottom six guys like Morgan Barron and Mason Appleton. I thought they were just noticeable in terms of their checking and how they were able to compete there and just being able to be active offensively and in terms of their checking as well. So a lot of good elements and a lot of intriguing elements from those guys as well.